This is Dianne. Welcome back to Biters.
And this is Marnell. Wow, we're podcasting 3 weeks in a row. Good for us.
Thank you, Phil.
Although we are still using Skype, Phil.
Right, we are, because we're lame. And I did get asked last night if we were going to podcast the death of Stalin, so we do need to do that at some point.
We do, but aren't you going on a trip very soon?
I am. I leave on Sunday.
Okay, so next week's episode will probably be a little bit late.
Yes,
than
a little bit later than everything has been from the Real Housewives lately. So, no pun intended. All right, so we are talking about Walking Dead Season 11, Episode 11, Rogue Element. I think I made you go first last time with ratings, so I will go first this time.
Okay.
And I'm still a little froggy, you guys. I'm sorry. And let me just tell you, COVID, for me, has turned into the never-ending supply of snot. It's horrible. And, like, a sore throat at the end of the day. But I'm not intubated and on death's door, so it's good. All right. My rating for this episode was 3 not exactly look-alike girlfriends out of 5.
It was funny. They had a host of another show on Talking Dead, and she was like, "Yeah, I pegged her as the fake Stephanie from the beginning." She's like, "And the other chick, like, what are the odds that the two women have the exact same glasses, you know, in this one little town?" And I'm thinking, okay, so I actually got a pair of like cat eye glasses before they got popular a number of years ago. And so the odds are actually really good. So
yeah, because you live in a teeny tiny town. So
yes, we have very few optometry choices. So the odds are really good in a small town. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you know, and quite frankly, a lot of people up here do their eye care at Costco. So again, the odds are really good.
All right. Well, I rated it a little bit higher than you, but not as high as my rating last week. I rated this episode 3.5 mother pus buckets.
Yeah.
You'd think a opium dealer would have a little more colorful vernacular.
They just couldn't quite go there in their last season.
Yeah, and what's funny is Cutlass directed this episode. So, like, you know, you'd think there'd be a little more language warnings.
Yeah, don't get me started on that, although I will, because I'm kind of sad. I'm a little sad. So I've got a couple of numbers. So it had 1.67 million views, which I think is pretty consistent with the last episode. Its IMDb was quite a bit lower. It was 6.9 on IMDb, and that was just checking it a few minutes ago.
Wow, that is quite a bit lower.
Yeah. So the title, I was like, oh, thank God, I actually caught the rationale behind the title. So Eugene says something about Stephanie ran afoul of a rogue element.
Yes, I actually caught that too.
But I was thinking about it after the fact, like when I was prepping for this tonight, and I thought, you know, there were a lot of other rogue elements in this episode. I mean, Carol and Hornsby off on their mission, you know, Connie and Kelly trying to kind of get the true story of Trooper Davis, not what they were supposed to be out there doing. So there were a few other rogue elements going on.
Yep. And I think it's not going to be the only ones that we see.
Oh, I agree. Although, you know, it was really funny. I was watching this and I watched the intro and then they played the Walking Dead music and I was like, okay, number one, I can remember when that music like stirred my heart because I was ready to watch. and number two, I don't really feel like this feels like The Walking Dead.
How so?
It just, I don't know. I don't know if it's because, I don't know if it's because it's kind of lost the feeling of the first couple of seasons and the zombies and the suspense and, You know, I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, we always said that it was more of a soap opera that happened to take place in the zombie apocalypse than it was a zombie show.
I always felt like it
I
was
can't
more
believe.
of a social commentary, at least in the early episodes.
Oh, it still has a lot of social commentary going
Yeah,
on.
I guess. I
You,
mean, there's the whole like caste system in the Commonwealth.
like every once in a while, I catch some stuff from Hornsby, and I'm like, that seems really relevant right now.
Oh, interesting. You know what?
Nothing that
I'm
I can
so
like put my finger on right now, but yeah, there's a few times where I'm like,
I'm so focused on the Ukraine that I like that's the only current news that I'm thinking about right now.
yeah, God, not on my bingo card for 2022.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah.
I mean, I have Rain of Toads and everything.
All right, our writer, we're familiar with this guy, David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick. David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick of the many names. So I looked him up just because I thought I'll say a couple of things about him, even though we've talked about him before. And one of the first things I saw was that he had written the sequel to Aquaman. We knew that he'd written Aquaman. He'd written the sequel, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, and it's in post-production. And that hurt my heart greatly because I still love Jason Momoa. I still love the Saturday morning Justice League Aquaman. I hated the first movie, and I will not spend money on the second movie.
Aw, that's too bad.
I know, it broke my heart. It was because the special effects were so god-awful. I mean, the story wasn't that much better, but the special effects were terrible.
I would watch Jason Momoa pick up garbage on the side of the street. Like,
you and Pete Ilani.
you're right. My big issue is they're bringing back Amber Heard.
Oh,
and I am
very
Team Johnny
interesting.
Depp.
Very interesting.
I'm also kind of Team Will Smith. Did you see last night's awards?
Was it last night or was it the night before? I think it was Sunday night.
Oh, it might have been the night before. I have no idea what day it is.
You know, so my feed, especially my Twitter and Facebook feeds, are crazy with opinions about the whole thing. And I'm kind of like, you know, I think Chris Rock was an asshole. And I think making fun of a woman for a medical condition she cannot control was totally inappropriate.
And that she's sensitive about.
Right. Now, is it cool for Will Smith to walk up and sucker punch the guy, slap the guy, whatever?
Housewives do not endorse violence.
Well, that's not entirely true. Sometimes the housewives do endorse violence, but I'm not sure how I feel about this.
Yeah. What kills me though is it looked so staged.
You know, other people have said that as well.
I have watched it a number of times. I have watched it in slow motion. I have seen the stills. And don't get me wrong, I'm not like seeking this stuff out. It is on my social media. And like Chris Rock is smiling the entire time. Will Smith like saunters, moseys. He does not like run up there towards, you know, he like just like stomps up there, and Chris Rock like leans forward and he like grimaces and smiles and and then Will Smith just turns around and walks away, and like Chris Rock is still smiling. I like maybe like he's just the consummate professional where like the show must go on, you know, but there was no security there before or after. There was no security like to keep Will Smith from like, not that he bum rushed Chris Rock, but there was no security before. There's no, I feel like the whole thing was staged. Like, I never punch down, don't make fun of people with illnesses. always punch up, but you talk shit, you get hit.
So a friend of mine posted this, and I think this probably summarizes it best in terms of where I'm at with it. It's kind of long, so hang in there with me. And I told you I was going to rein you in, and here I'm going completely off the rails already. So in Chris Rock's 90s stand-up routine, Bring the Pain, he said this about O.J. Simpson. You gotta look at O.J.'s situation. He's paying $25,000 a month in alimony, got another man driving around in his car and fucking his wife in a house he's still paying the mortgage on. Now, I'm not saying he should have killed her, but I understand. He touched back on this...
What year was that?
1990.
Okay.
He touched back on this several times. I'm not saying he should have killed her, but I understand. Some years ago, Chris appeared with a few white comedians, including Louis C.K., and he laughed along when they used the N-word. I'm not saying he should have killed her, but I understand. During the year the Oscars had no black nominees, Will Smith and his wife Jada Pinkett Smith boycotted the ceremony in protest. I'm not saying he should have killed her, but I understand. Chris Rock went on stage that night and mocked them for it, saying essentially, how can you boycott something you weren't invited to? Now we come to this incident. Chris mocked Jada's hair. She is suffering from a condition that causes hair loss. It must be noted he did this after making the documentary Good Hair about how important hair is to a black woman and why you should never mock her for it.
I forgot about that.
Even after that, he went there, after he had previously taken shots at the Smiths. After Will had previously warned Chris not to go after his wife or children again. After mocking them for standing up for what they believe in. After laughing along with white people using the N-word. After making the case that he understood why O.J. killed two people. Now, I'm not saying Will Smith should have slapped him, but I understand.
Yeah. I mean, I saw some people, like, saying, oh, well, and they posted the clip of it. Will Smith made fun of a bald man when he was on Arsenio Hall. And, like, it was during his, like, Fresh Prince days. And I'm like, okay, like, he was a stupid kid. Like, yeah, we all say dumb stuff when we're stupid kids. And especially, like, when you are on camera as much, like, more dumb crap is going to come out of your mouth and get caught on video for the world to see. And it's also very, very different when it's your wife and the mother of your children. So... I mean, I don't condone violence, but there is a reason why there is a show called Everybody Hates Chris.
But I understand. Okay, so Amber Heard was our slippery slope to Chris Rock. Yep. Just really quick, I wanted to say I did look to see what my favorite Walking Dead episode that David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick wrote. And he wrote Chupacabra all the way back in 2011.
That was a good episode.
That was a great episode. Remember Merle? Remember Phantom Merle?
Yeah.
Like Daryl kept seeing him?
Yep.
Okay, our director, you are actually absolutely right, was Michael Cudlitz. He has directed 4 episodes of The Walking Dead proper. He directed 2 episodes of World Beyond. I am going to go out on a limb and say my favorite episode that he directed for Walking Dead was Stradivarius. And then hashtag Where's Luke? Did Luke die and I missed it? Or where is Luke?
That's a... Oh, now, like... I would have remembered Luke dying. I swear I would have remembered Luke dying.
Fans, help us out here. Is Luke still alive? Is he, like, off at Oceanside, like, untouched by all of this chaos and craziness? Or is he still with Jules?
I was going to say the last episode I remember is him having the crush on the chick from Oceanside.
I think they were a thing. I think it was more than a crush. I think they were a thing.
Yeah, it's the last episode I remember him in. Like, and a lot's happened since then. Like, a lot.
Anyway, Michael Cudlitz, you're breaking my heart because you usually do such good work, and I was a little bit bummed out by this episode. No, I was bummed out by this episode. I'm not sure if it was the writing. I don't think it was the directing. I could be wrong. It could be both. Just want to put a plug in for Band of Brothers if anybody hasn't watched it, because Michael Cudlitz is amazing in that as an actor.
So I don't know why I have an aversion to like war stories, and like Band of Brothers is one of those that I have not seen.
It's phenomenal.
And that's I have heard that like tons of people are always like, you haven't seen it. I'm like, I can't do military dramas like that. I just, it's almost like it's like we're still in a world that has war. Like, it just hits a little too close.
I am not going to kid you. I had someone's sweet head in my lap this week, and we watched a World War II drama with Tom Hanks called Greyhound. It was quite good also. All right. So, our featured cast. I kind of sprang it on you, and you didn't really have a chance to prep. So, do you want me to lead, or do you have...
You can start. I've got something.
So, we decided that our featured cast was William Mark McCullough, who played Moto, who was the drug dealer, the opium grower that Hornsby and Carol specifically kind of rousted out. He has 76 actor credits on IMDb, but like I was telling Marn, even the stuff that were his biggest roles were pretty small. So he had a part in Hillbilly Elegy, which we decided was quite controversial, but neither one of us could really remember why, which is pretty sad. I think Marn got it the closest by saying that it was how J.D. Vance portrayed people in Appalachia. So, and then his role in Walking Dead was the other one that I thought was his biggest role, and I mean, it was a few minutes as someone who was growing opium. So... I feel kind of bad because he cleans up really nice.
So what, like, there's nothing that I know him from in any of his credits. I don't recognize him for anything. I don't recognize any. I haven't really watched. But here's the thing.
Why don't you be a little bit more brutal about it?
That is not the most interesting about this guy.
I think I know where you're going to go, but go there.
Yeah, prior to his career in entertainment,
yes.
Mark worked in politics and law on Capitol Hill. A serious car accident while on a trip to Nicaragua prompted him to change his career path. Mark is a passionate world traveler, having backpacked through multiple countries, including Russia, Turkey, Serbia, Bulgaria, Cuba, Nicaragua. And he is an avid motorcyclist, spending his free time exploring the back roads throughout the U.S. Oh my God, how is he not in an episode with Daryl? Because he's got to be on Ride next time.
Or before he passed away on an episode of Anthony Bourdain's show.
Yeah.
No, he would be great for an episode of Ride.
And you're right. He cleans up real good.
Yeah, he does. He does very much so.
He's kind of like Channing Tatum and Lou Diamond Phillips had a kid.
That is actually pretty accurate. Oh my God. So, welcome to the Walking Dead family. It looks like your stay was pretty short. Sorry.
Yeah, so far he's only got one credit, but I mean, it's not like they killed the guy. Right. They just took him into custody.
Right. Although who knows what that really means in the Commonwealth.
I was gonna say, like, Alexandria had the one little cell. Commonwealth does have an entire, like, militarized police force. So, do they have a prison somewhere?
I would not put it past them.
Yeah, I wouldn't either, but I also would. I would think that they wouldn't, quote unquote, want to waste the money on keeping people prisoner, because they're very, I mean, maybe they're using them as slave labor. I don't know. And more slave labor than they're already using people.
I don't know. We're just going to continue to find out horrible things about the Commonwealth, which is consistent with the comic book, so... Right. Oh, that actually reminds me of something that I wanted to talk about, that I mean, there's no Whisperer's Corner this week, because the couple of things that I did find in Whisperer's Corner were spoilery for episodes that we haven't watched yet, so I didn't want to spoil myself and talk about them. So I'm going to move on to talk about something that Phil Parrish brought to my attention today. If you have Disney Plus, as of tomorrow, the series Moon Knight is being released. I don't know if it's just going to be the first episode and if it's going to be weekly or if they're going to dump all 6 episodes from the first season at once. But it's really pretty interesting. So it's a comic book series, I want to say probably from the 90s. Correct me if I'm wrong, Phil. And it's definitely unusual. So it's going to be really interesting to see where Disney Plus takes this character, because it's a pretty dark character.
Yeah, it is. Former U.S. Marine struggles with dissociative identity disorder, is granted the powers of the Egyptian moon god. But he soon finds out that these newfound powers can be a both blessing and a curse into his troubled life.
Well, and there's a character named the Bushmaster, or the Bushman. Can't remember. I want to say it's the Bushmaster, who could be construed as a really racist character. So I'm kind of wondering what they're going to do with that. Yeah.
It's got Oscar Isaac and Ethan Hawke, who are both phenomenal actors.
Remind me who Oscar Isaac is.
So what I know him most is from a movie, I want to say Triple Frontier, something like that. I don't know if you probably... It's got Ben Affleck, the guy from Game of Thrones, Oscar Isaac. It's got a whole bunch of really very good-looking guys in it. So that's why I know it. Gosh, what would you know him from? Star Wars, maybe? He plays Poe.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I was like, I don't know if that's like just like a little too far down the nerd rabbit hole.
Good Lord, no. I'm sitting here after working an 11-hour day and I'm exhausted and I'm podcasting about the Walking Dead nerd rabbit hole. Good Lord.
Oh man, he was in Sucker Punch too. I forgot that. He played such a sleaze. Still love him though.
The only
I
other...
do have Disney Plus, so I have to watch Moon Knight.
It is Disney Plus, so it's a subscription if you don't have it, but it's worth getting a subscription to Disney Plus because, man, Hawkeye was good. The Book of Boba Fett is one of the best series I've watched in a long time. Yeah. And
Every time
Mandalorian 3 is coming out, the third episode, or third season of Mandalorian.
They're really good at stringing us along. Every time I'm like, oh, I'm going to cancel Disney Plus after this show. Nope. They come out with something cooler.
Yep. And they're coming out with the series about Obi-Wan.
You can keep my $20 a month or whatever the hell it is. I don't know, because I pay for all of them.
Right.
Right now I'm watching The Girl from Plano on Hulu. And it's the dramatization of the real life story of a girl who basically harasses, and I'm not even going to say her boyfriend, like they met in real life like one time, harasses and bullies him into committing suicide via text.
That is horrible. And I think it's a true story, isn't it?
It is. Yes, it is. I watched the documentary, which is why I'm like, okay, now I have to watch the dramatization with Elle Fanning.
Lovely. All right.
That's what I do with my free time.
The only other thing that I wanted to say, and Marnell's heard me go on about this, and some of y'all have seen it on my Facebook page, I bought a Fat Tire bike this weekend, and I'm so excited.
I love what you named it too.
Oh, yeah. So it's orange, and so I named it Hermione because she's a ginger. So...
Is Hermione a ginger, though?
Hermione's a ginger.
I thought the Weasleys were gingers.
The Weasleys are totally gingers, but Hermione is a ginger as well.
Okay. I didn't read the book, so...
Oh my god. Now I'm going to have to look up a picture of Hermione, because
And I totally just ruined the name of your bike if she's not a ginger.
Right? I'm gonna have to totally rename I'll name her like Molly Weasley or something.
Ginny Weasley.
Ginny, there you go.
That's who Harry married. At least in the movie. I don't know. I didn't read the book.
She's kind of a ginger. She's pretty much a ginger.
Okay.
Shut up.
I'll give it to you.
Did you look her up?
No.
Okay.
The shows are constantly on TV. They're like on a loop on alternating channels. That and the Twilight movies.
Oh, God. Okay.
I have to watch them though because the dogs love the Twilight movies, and I'm not even joking. That's like not even. I'm not even like I like the Twilight movies, but like.
Okay, you told me I had to rein. You told me I had to rein you in, and now I'm gonna start exercising.
All right.
Oh my God. I mean, I know I talked about my fat tire bike, and I should let you talk about the CGI wolves, but oh my God.
No, you should not. Absolutely not. Nobody wants to hear about the CGI wolves and my dog's crush on them.
All right.
Wow, we're not even like into the episode, and we're already in Spooky Chef territory.
Oh my God, we totally are. Okay, so we are now at the point of goods, bads, and uglies because there was no news, and the Housewives was kind of a shit show, so... I love being able to swear on our own podcast. It's so nice. Sorry,
yeah,
Rob.
I kind of like it too. I still try and catch myself. Like I said crap instead of shit earlier.
Well, there you go. All right, so my good. I actually loved our best supporting princess. She was a really good friend to Eugene, and quite honestly, nobody else even, like, checked on him or seemed like they cared. Or, I mean, there are multiple other people who are in the Commonwealth who knew Eugene from Alexandria. Did anybody check on Eugene? No, it was Princess.
No, in their own defense, apparently Daryl is a single dad of 2 children. And Rosita has, like, part-time custody of her kid, and they're both going through basic training. And Carol is like committing like political espionage with
You
Hornsby.
still check on your friends when they're down.
Yeah, you do. So is it me, or like did I miss a title card where they flashed forward? Because like it went from like she stood him up to wall of crazy in like the blink of an eye, and I'm
do you mean like all the strings and the stuff like linked? Is that what you meant by wall of crazy? Like, it was pretty awesome. Yeah. So, that was pretty awesome.
You know, it went from like stood him up, and then like the police have stopped searching for her.
It's not just that she stood him up; she disappeared.
Yeah, but
wouldn't you be freaked out if someone that you cared about just totally disappeared?
No, totally. I'm just saying that it seems like 2 or 3 weeks passed in the blink of an eye. Or did they just stop searching for her in 24 hours and he had wall of crazy in like 8? Like I feel like
I don't feel like it was
passed.
I don't feel like it was that long. I mean, I will give you that. Okay, his deterioration seems rapid when you put it that way, but I don't feel like it was like 2 or 3 weeks. I feel like it was a shorter period of time than that.
He had been doing stakeouts and like getting blotto drunk and peeing in alleys, and yeah, I don't know.
Is this your good?
I thought like no. I completely agree with you on Princess, who, by the way, looks totally normal.
Right.
And it's weirding me out.
Right.
But I am absolutely going to use the people have to let you in if you're carrying food thing.
Right. I loved the empty lasagna pan.
Yeah.
Here, hold the lasagna.
I'm like, the woman is brilliant. That's brilliant.
You know, most people who are mentally ill are very intelligent. I'm not exaggerating.
Yep. Yep.
All right. So
there's a fine line between genius and madness.
Very much. So what was your good?
My good was actually Carol.
Really?
I know, but like, I absolutely loved that she, and I'm sure that's exactly what she was meant to do, was to be there and, figure out the situation. But she figured out that this guy had been stealing the workers' money and beating them, and that he was just an all around bad guy. And I don't know. I just like, and then Hornsby being like, yeah, we're gonna take care of this, and we're going to give them the raise. And I'm just like, oh my God, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Like, what's going on? And the conclusion that I came to is that he is a bad guy, but he's not like a sadistic, beat your head in with a baseball bat bad guy. Like, yeah, he's climbing the political ladder, and he'll do anything to get there. But he's going to stay true to his word on things. And then, of course, later on we see him and he's a terrible guy again, which I love complicated villains. But yeah, Carol, I loved her last episode when she was like brutally honest when she got caught snooping, and she was like, nah, I'm snooping, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's because like she cares about Ezekiel again. I'm liking Carol again.
Okay.
Your good was good, and obviously my good was controversial.
Your good is kind of related to my bad.
Oh, okay.
So I could have done without either of the other storylines. Carol and Hornsby did nothing for me. It did zero zilch. I was not even remotely interested. Connie and Kelly, slightly better, but again, not really interested. I thought the Eugene, Stephanie storyline was really good.
Interesting. So that leads into my bad. We're rolling through these, man.
I told you it was going to be a short episode, which, Marn's been listening to me whine about how tired I am. She whined at me about how tired she is. So it's really not a bad thing.
It's not. And I'm not tired. I'm burned out. Like, I'm totally fried from work to the point that, like, I almost can't work. Like, I can sit there and stare at a screen and look like I'm working and try and work. Like, I can get through a few emails, but it takes me about 10 times as long as it used to. I'm fried. Anyway, your good segue, I don't know. We're segueing very well. Apparently, though not in my speech pattern.
Help me out
my
here.
bad.
I'm not picking up what you're throwing down.
We were making good segues, like, because your bad in its good part led into my bad. You liked this Stephanie Eugene storyline.
Oh my god, stop. Just tell me what your bad is.
My bad was the Stephanie Eugene storyline. The whole thing.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
No.
We couldn't have been more...
It could have been avoided with a 3-sentence Dear John letter. I'm sorry, Eugene. It's not you. It's me. Goodbye. And, like, that would have totally explained her, like, changing jobs and leaving and moving out and not talking to it. It's not you. It's me. Goodbye. If somebody would have had the forethought to be like, why don't we write a little note to him? He would have never, I in my imagination, he would have never gone on this, like, crazy woman hunt, man hunt, whatever. The whole thing could have been avoided. Hornsby could have totally gotten away with it. I mean, yeah, Eugene would have still like been depressed and probably drinking a lot and burning his book and things like that. All that would have happened, but none of this like I gotta find her and I gotta stake out the plumber and I gotta, none of that would have happened. This whole thing could have been avoided. It like the whole joke. This meeting could have been an email. This whole episode could have been a note.
Wow. We're polar opposites tonight. That's kind of funny.
It is.
Okay, so my ugly, you're gonna totally crack up, is an absolute good ugly. I feel like this was the best part of the episode, probably the best thing I've seen on The Walking Dead in a while. And it was Eugene's unraveling and Josh McDermott's portrayal of it. I loved it.
No.
I loved the way he played it. It was awesome.
We're so polar.
I know.
So mine was a bad ugly. And it was Eugene's whole unraveling. I swear to God, people, we did not plan this. Okay, so here's my explanation. I have always had an issue with Eugene. I have made no bones about it. Eugene, not Josh McDermott. Love the actor. Great guy. Don't give people hate on social media who don't deserve it. He doesn't deserve it. But, I've always had this thing about, like, he did the whole lying thing to get people to protect him. And then he did the whole, like, if Rosita is not going to be my girlfriend, then what is she? Because I can't be friends with her because I put all this work into her being a girlfriend and she doesn't want to be my girlfriend. Like, and I totally admit it is completely my bias that probably played into, and I realized that she actually went missing. But it just was like, dude, she left you. Get over it. Like, quit being creepy. Totally my bias. I get it. But that's where I went.
Wow. I'm like, he knows that something is not right in the Commonwealth, and her just disappearing like that is not cool.
Everyone knows there's something wrong in the Commonwealth. Like,
and that makes Stephanie disappearing okay?
No. And like I said, she's missing. So I completely give him a pass on the whole he doesn't get over it. Like I said, could have been covered with the 3-sentence notes,
Oh my God.
And somebody in their grand plan forgot to tie that loose end up.
That is appalling.
Yeah. Isn't it funny? Like, I feel if you go back and listen to old episodes of Biters, like, we've like flipped. Like, I'm now the jaded one, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm in love,
Exactly. And that's exactly what it is. And I'm burned out and jaded, so. Although, I mean, I've always been sort of jaded, so that's part of the charm.
Yeah. Sorry.
Speaking of charm, we are squarely into rotting potpourri.
We are squarely into rotting potpourri, and I'm giving us 10 minutes to talk about rotting potpourri because it is my first anniversary, and I am talking to my boyfriend.
Hey, you're not talking to me. I'm going to keep you on here.
Oh my God. I will totally hang up on you. I will cut a bitch.
Okay, I know you did not like the other storylines in this episode, and I was not digging the Kelly Connie thing. And I will say that...
I mean, they are lovely together, don't get me wrong. I just don't feel like they're being served by the storylines that are being fed to them.
So Sling has this thing now where they're auto-playing the next episode. They didn't used to do that. And I fell asleep last night with The Walking Dead playing. And I woke up a couple of times with The Walking Dead playing in the background. So I have a few either fever dreams or flash forwards. I cannot tell. of what's going to happen in future episodes. And so I honestly think that they could have put Connie and Kelly's part in this episode in a future episode that's coming up. But I do have to say, I appreciate how sharp Angel Theory is looking these days.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly looks so good.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
The Commonwealth does her well.
Yes.
But
the storyline does not, but the Commonwealth itself does. So
yes, and like I said, I think they could have probably put it in a upcoming episode from what I have kind of seen, and it would have been just fine there.
I did want to give the series points for a good zombie. We haven't seen one in a while, in my opinion. And the zombie that was killed just as we were coming on to seeing Carol and Hornsby together in the buggy was a good zombie.
Yep. Split in half by Mercer's axe.
Yes.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And I maintain that the zombies around Commonwealth seem to be a lot faster and more agile.
I maintain they seem to be a little squishier and a little fresher. That was a pretty liquid zombie.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, one of my... And Mercer was, like, the Sherbert suit was definitely a lot darker than Sherbert.
Sherbert suit. It's the Hermione suit.
Speaking of Mercer, I believe that my bold prediction from last episode is slowly coming true, and he is another rogue element.
Oh. He certainly seems angry.
Well, I think his closeness to, is it Troy? The other soldier that was in the hospital?
Tyler Davis.
I knew it started. I think his closeness isn't, this is my prisoner. I think his closeness is, I have to make sure that he's keeping our secrets. I think that Mercer is the head of the Resistance, and he is trying to keep a lid on things. And again, another rogue element, but I think that that's the story that Connie and Kelly are gonna bust wide open. I mean, they're not gonna like put it in the paper or anything, but I think they're gonna stumble into it by shadowing Mercer.
Okay, this is our 5-minute warning, so we each get to pick one more thing.
Okay.
And my thing that I am going to talk about is, well, actually, I'm going to pick 2 really small things. You can have 2 really small things. So Connie got that list of names, and the last one was Davis, which tells me there are a lot more troopers out there who have been decommissioned or suffered some sort of post-traumatic stress or something along those lines. So it's going to be interesting to see what we learn from that list of names. The other thing that I want to say is ending with Max, who maybe is Stephanie, who's not really Stephanie, like having her recite the stuff that she and Eugene talked about on the radio was really pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, those are mine.
So right before that, there was a really good foreshadowing when, Princess is like, finally like, okay, he's like, but you said when a woman tells you she loves you, believe her. And and Princess is like, well, when a woman leaves you, you gotta believe her then too. And she talks about her dad leaving, and she says, you think you can know someone and then find out that you never even met them. And then segue into meeting real Stephanie.
Right. Who is Max. And we think that she is Max,
yeah.
but... Yeah.
And that was great. I love that. It was great foreshadowing.
Yes.
So my only other minor thing this episode was on The Talking Dead, they were talking about Eugene burning his book and everything, and someone was, I think it was Chris Hardwick, was like, isn't there a Kinko's in the Commonwealth? And I'm like, there has to be. Did you see how many missing posters Eugene had placed
Right.
all over, side by side by side.
It's not
by
like he
side.
hand drew each one of those. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, you get where I'm coming about the creepy, obsessive nature of this whole thing. Yes, she's missing. I get it, but like,
I kind of feel like you're exaggerating it a little bit, but I mean, let's be a little bit kind to Eugene and suggest that perhaps he is fairly far on the autism spectrum.
So again, with the whole waking up and it's a different episode, I do know that there is a very poignant talk that is coming up with Rosita. So yes, that's why one of the reasons why I'm kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt is like she's missing, and this is like his first like real love that like loved him back, and it's also like very weird that like this poor other Stephanie, Max, this poor other Stephanie, like had to watch all this going on. How horrendous is that? Just want to point that out before we leave.
I don't believe that she was really in love with Eugene, so I'm going to point that out before we leave.
No.
No, I don't.
Stephanie.
I don't think Max was, but I think the real Stephanie, the Stephanie that we knew, who was Shira, I think the name was. I think Shira was truly in love with Eugene.
Either way, like both of them knew about it. They had to know about it. Like fake Stephanie had to know about real Stephanie, who's not really real Stephanie. It's a soap opera, but like it would just like be weird. And who would have thought in season 11 we'd be fighting over Eugene?
Who would have thought Eugene would be alive in season 11?
Apparently, if you survive long enough in the zombie apocalypse, you're a catch.
There you go. Even if you got a weird braid.
Weird braid, but he can make water potable. I mean, you know, there are trade-offs you do have to make. All right. This episode is going to be a little late because Diane's going to go have some fun.
Because Diana's traveling again because my life is crazier than I ever thought it would be, and it's fabulous.
I was going to say crazy good.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Until then, just remember.
Take it one
dead
day
at a time.
God. Terrible.
You laugh first. We're leaving it in.
All right, everybody. Have a good week or two.
Have a good week.
Bye.